In this video, let's take a look at the mix console, what it is and what we can do with it. To get to the mix console, you can go to Views and then choose the mix console here, or you can choose the shortcut Alt-2. Now, this brings up the mix console in the lower pane over here. I can drag this up to change the height. So obviously, if it's down here, it's not revealing all the parameters available on all the tracks. If I bring it all the way up, I can reveal everything. Likewise, I could also undock this and maybe I want to throw this onto another display. So I've got a second display and I could throw it there. But for now, I'm just going to keep it docked and we're just going to change the view. So what I want to do is in the track view over here, I just want to minimize the track height so I can see all my tracks and I'll adjust this height just to reveal things. Now, when I went over the track and clip inspectors here, you got an idea of the parameters, which are very similar in the mix console. So what I'm going to do is just minimize the inspector and minimize the browser. So we've got some more screen real estate and just bring this up. So like you see here, you've got your different tracks. On mine, I've got a piano, bass, drums, electric piano, and guitars. And the point of the mix console and having access to a console like this is to create balance within your mix. So for example, I could use this volume fader over here to drop the level of the piano. I could go over to the drums, drop that as well. Maybe with the electric piano, I want to pan this to the right. Maybe with these pianos, I want to pan them to the left. So you've got that control of creating balance of our mix. Now, if you make some changes and you want to revert back to the default state, you can just simply double click on a parameter and it gets back to where it was. Now, I have been through all of these settings in the inspector video. So these are exactly the same. Just the one thing I want to point out is this little arrow here. If I click this, it opens up to reveal the Pro channel. So over here, I can add compression, I can change the EQ, I can add some drive saturation, and when I'm done, I can close this. And obviously, this turns on or bypasses the Pro channel. So if I had to go into the Pro channel and add some adjustments, maybe on the EQ, I'm going to do a low boost and then attenuation in the mids, then I could close that and I can see my EQ changes that I've done here. And I can also bypass them. Also, if I want to set them to post or pre-fader, I can click here to switch between the two. So that is the view over here of our tracks. But what's important to note is the sort of flow and routing of the tracks. So we got our tracks that come in here, and underneath here, you can see how they are routed. So for example, this piano goes out to my master bus, and your buses are over here in this view here. So over here are tracks, over here are buses. And I'll show you a bit now later how we can view our hardware outputs as well. So basically, you can change the routing of where you want your tracks to go. Because a big thing in mixing is creating subfolders or subgroups and routing tracks to those to create submixes of those, and then those go through to the master. For example, if I wanted to take my bass and drums and route them to one bus, so to do that, I could create another bus. So let's say I right click over here, click Insert Stereo Bus. I'm going to rename this bass and drums. And then what I can do is go to the outputs of the bass and route that to this new stereo bus. Now, what that means is if I play back, you can hear my whole mix. But if I solo the stereo bus, I'm only going to hear the bass and drums. So that allows me to add extra bus processing to these tracks. Maybe, for example, on this track, I want to add some compression, even out the dynamics with just the bass and the drums. I could do that. And then the bass and drums are being routed out to the main master output. Now, you've also got some parameters over here. So if I click on this, it's going to show you the modules that you're seeing. So let's say I didn't want to see the Pro channel. I can click there and it hides it. Or maybe I want to reveal the icons. I can see the icons for my tracks. Now, another thing I want to show you here is I'm just going to hide the icons, bring back the Pro channel, and move over on to the strip section over here. This also allows you to reveal and hide things. So let's say I didn't want to see my buses. I could tick that and it hides the buses for me. I can bring the buses back and then I can also maybe choose to not see audio tracks. Maybe I only want to see MIDI and instrument tracks. If I do that, it's going to hide the audio tracks, which is my guitar track over here. So I just want to bring this back here. Now, important thing that I want to show you is under here, you can also choose to show your hardware outputs. Now, when I click that, it actually gives me 3 different views. I've got my tracks, I've got my buses, and then I've got my hardware output. So this is the hardware output going to my outputs 1 and 2 on my audio device. So when I'm playing back, nice way to think about this is my bass and drums are being routed out to the bass and drums bus over here. This is going to the master bus, and then the master bus is going to our main output over here. Now, another thing you can get to in the strips menu over here is the widening and narrowing of strips. For example, maybe you've got quite a few tracks in your project and you can't see them all, then you can narrow them and get a much more narrow view and have more screen real estate with tracks that you can view in this view. But I'm just going to leave it on widening for now, just so I can see everything more clearly. Then going over to track here, this menu just allows you to add and create tracks. For example, the same as going to insert and adding tracks there. You can create buses by going over here or even deleting them. So that's an overview of the mix console and the different tracks that you can view. Now in the next video, let's take a look at routing in more detail and adding effects and routing to sends.